Yo, good morning. How's it going? So, lots been going on as usual, but before we get into that, I'll start off with a quick warning. In this video, I'll be dealing with temperatures above 1500 degrees Fahrenheit and also over a kilovolt of electricity. So, this isn't a tutorial. I'm not going to show you how to do the stuff safely or how to do the stuff at all. And if you decide to try some of these things, you're going to take your safety into your own hands. So, that being said, let's get to it. And before we get too far into the weeds of like what actually physically happened in this week, I wanted to kind of recap real quickly. For people that don't really know me too well, I'm basically an inventor. I'm an engineer with multiple engineering skill sets. I've always been very passionate about like building stuff and trying to take things that don't exist and then make them exist. So I've got a long track record of that kind of thing. But the thing that I haven't had any real experience in is like manufacturing, right? So prototyping is something that you do kind of one-off pieces, and I'm very familiar with that and like the tools and techniques. But when it comes to mass manufacturing, really didn't have much of a background. So I was spending this last week basically looking into that. I spent the prior weeks as well, kind of looking into it. The objective for this last week was to be able to basically melt aluminum down and pour it into a form, and then be able to retrieve it and get some sort of pattern. That was all I was looking for. I also, as a side note, spent a couple of days researching EDM machining, so electric discharge machining, or electrical. I can never get that straight, electric versus electrical. But anyways, it's the same concept. Basically, just super high current and somewhat high voltage, depending on settings, being used to like machine away metal, basically inducing like a kind of plasma condition next to the part you're trying to resurface. So I totally can build one of those. It's pretty close to things I've built in the past. But it looks like the material costs a little bit high to run it, and I'm not really interested in that at the moment because, as y'all probably know, I quit my job to do this, so I'm not like just throwing cash at things randomly, right? So that being the case, I kind of decided to stick with the mill, which the mill I have, I'm thankful to have it, but it's not it's not like a $10,000 or $100,000 CNC machine that you would see like professionally used. I'm pretty much just like upgrading the machine to be able to handle things that it wasn't built to handle. So there's still some limitations on that, but it's a lot more capable than it used to be before I got it. So yeah. Anyways, that being said, I think let's kind of jump into it. Oh, one more thing. I did spend some of my time as unaccounted for. I know you're like, Johnny, where did it go? So if you're watching this in real time, it's like, pretty much Christmas 30 right now. So like with the holidays approaching, those that know me well, like, in real life, some of my friends and family watch this stuff. Y'all know I really like Christmas. I like giving people gifts. I'm really into that. But not having a job at the moment and living off of my savings is kind of tough because I usually do enjoy, splurging on friends and family because I don't know. I just like seeing people happy that they got a cool gift or whatever. So like that being the case, I had to limit my funds for that. So I decided, hey, maybe I'll just make some stuff for people because I'm kind of handy. I've seen that. So like I spent time designing stuff for people. And, one of my brothers had a birthday, so like I spent a good bit of time like milling and designing something, which those things won't show up in this video, but they'll probably show up after Christmas down the line. They're kind of neat. I think they're pretty neat. But yeah, enough rambling. Let's get to it. Let's cover some of the machining operations that were done, and then also the pouring of the molten aluminum and the results of that particular test, and then something else after that. Something words. Jump cut go. Am I in frame again? I'm probably not in frame. My hands are just like out of frame. Jump cut.
Okay, back here at the surface of the sun. Oh wait, nope, that's not where we are. We are in the CAD. Okay, so this is the 3D design software for physical objects that I use. I use Fusion 360. Anyways, so this is a part that I was trying to reform in aluminum, right? So this is what I was going to make the mold against. We can see the mold outline here, where I basically just took this shape and subtracted it from this shape right here. I elected to use stainless steel for a number of reasons, but the stainless steel is a little bit harder than my rig really wants to process, so there were some technical challenges. I wanted to add some ejector pins in here to be able to kick the part out because it can seize in the mold. But I was having a lot of trouble getting that to work properly, to be honest. So, I'll probably redesign, not probably, I definitely will end up redesigning this mold for a number of reasons. We'll see, a little bit later what happened with it. But yeah, learnings were had. So let's get to the next bit of this. So here's the completed mold. Um, It actually came out better than I thought it would. There were still issues with it. One of the pockets I wasn't able to cut out too well. But what we have here, what you're seeing in the main bit of this picture here, is a zoomed up view of the mold itself after it's been cut. You can see like the tooling marks as the bit was cutting through the stainless steel. All in all, I was actually pretty impressed with it. I didn't think it would give me this good of a finish. I can barely feel the ridges that are left by the bit in it. There's obviously visual, like you can see the tool marks, but all in all, I think it was actually pretty good. Okay, so what we have here is my gas forge. It's set up. The aluminum is melted. If you can see it down there, once I look up a little bit, it's glowing red hot and it's ready to go. Gonna pour a little bit off. I left some room here so I could clean some of the slag if I wanted to, and also kind of get a feeling for how the metal wanted to pour that day. It was a little bit cold and really windy, so the aluminum was cooling down very quickly, to be honest. We'll see that come into play here when I try to pour this. It just kind of sticks almost in the crucible, and definitely when it contacts the steel mold, it starts solidifying. You can see it like really just beat up on the part there. Obviously, I overfilled that, but it really didn't want to run, so that was going to happen. This is a piece that was produced. It came off pretty easily, wasn't that big of a deal. But what ended up happening is I wanted to see if I could get a little bit better compliance with the mold. Like it just looked like it was kind of low fidelity, so I went back and remelted it. Got it stuck in the mold, and then came back to kind of review the results. The part quality on the second go is much better. They got a lot more details out of it. There still looks like there was a little bit of possibly trapped air when it was poured out. There's also a little bit of binding that occurred. I think you can see like the surface texture that's both on the part and also on the mold itself. I didn't have any mold release in there. So there's a lot that I read up on before I did this, and a lot of things that I could have done differently. But I knew it'd end up iterating through this, and I really just wanted to get some hands-on time so it could become like a real concept to me. So all in all, it was a success. I've got a lot of plans to change this process and make it a lot better. On that note, I've been at making this video for about 5 hours now. And I'm eager to get on to redesigning this mold, and then I'm gonna have to build, or I think I'm probably gonna have to build some extra equipment around actually pouring the aluminum and a few other things. So, anyways, basically, I think I'm gonna get back here to work, and I know I said I'd talk a little bit about the EDM process and like the high voltage things I was screwing around with. But I'm getting on about 8 minutes into the video here, and like I said, I do need to get back to work. So either I'll slide into the next video or I'll come back to it a little bit later. But either way, it was nice hanging out with y'all. I'll see y'all later, and I hope y'all have a Merry Christmas. Peace.